Now, like I said, I ate up a lot of channels like this back then, because there were hundreds of review channels like this back in the day. So I think it's appropriate that for the first entry, we talk about one of the first people on this site that I started watching that falls under this category. Technically speaking, Game Master 468 is the first one I used to watch, but even then I saw some Nostalgia Critic's reviews before I watched his review series. It would be cool to talk about Game Master, but I might save that for later on in case I revisit this topic. There's a lot I could discuss about his My Thoughts series. But there was another channel that I also liked watching around that same time, who also had their own comedic review show. This channel was called Cooper Raymer, aka the Hedgehog Ninja. Now, if you search for this channel nowadays, it's a bit tricky. If you type in Cooper Raymer, the channel still appears, but it's under a different title. If you look at the channel now, it's called Noelle the Fox, and for a period of time, all of these videos were gone. For you see, the channel's creator, Noah Raymer, or Noelle as she goes by nowadays, was embarrassed by these videos, if that wasn't made obvious by the altered titles they have now. So she unlisted them. But thanks to fan outcry, and a bit of harassment, she decided to go back on her decision and put the videos back up for everyone to see, much to the delight of the fans, myself included. That's the thing with these older reviewers. Because there were so many of them back then, it's inevitable that not all of them are available to watch nowadays. Especially if the creator was embarrassed by their content and wanted to distance himself from it. That's what happened to Noelle as she rebranded the channel and now mostly focuses on Twitch streams. But back in 2013, she was known as the Hedgehog Ninja and mostly made content adjacent to that of the Nostalgia Critic. She started off by making countdowns, which is how I found her. And despite what Noelle thinks of her content now, I think they still hold up alright. I still enjoy watching these countdowns. One thing that I will say, however, is that these videos can be pretty dated.
And I can even say that I'm even tempted to give the reboot game a try. Oh jeez, the fanboys are gonna kill me for saying that. In fact, I can safely say that PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale is probably one of the most overhated gems on the PS3. Yeah, I said it. Come at me, haters. Man, screw One Direction, Justin Bieber, and Miley Cyrus and all of their garbagey lameness.
Could you tell this video is from 2013? But aside from these countdowns, there was another series that Noelle was doing at the time that I enjoyed way more than the top 10 list. The series was called The Hedgehog Ninja Reviews. And like I said, these videos were adjacent to that of Nostalgia Critic. And once you watch these videos... Oh god, this one takes me back. This checks off all the boxes. The cartoon characters and avatar, all the cheesy one-liners, the clips from other media, the overly animated anger, the skits, the commentary, it's all here. This just screams what videos like this were like back then. They're cheesy in a way that's pretty charming nowadays, and once you watch these videos, it takes you back to that era of the early 2010s and YouTube. It's hard to really put into words, but as a kid, I found videos like this to be endlessly entertaining.
Okay, I was just kidding.
And yes, these videos are filled with all kinds of jokes like that. Like, honestly, how many times have you seen a reviewer do that joke? Where they play a clip from the thing that they're reviewing, they do a comedic edit, and then they clarify it like, alright, that doesn't actually happen. As if you needed to say that.
Okay, there's no gore, but there is something just as equally terrifying.
It's kind of hard to really start talking about a channel like this because, again, it's one of those things where you know it when you see it. Noelle seems to favor her newer videos in comparison to the older ones, and while I do agree that these newer ones are objectively better, you can't beat jokes like this.
You only get one chance, and that's what you want. What's the world gonna say when I call you bluff, punk?
Never say never, Ed.
Don't ever say never. The last thing we need here is a Justin Bieber song.
Really though, in spite of these videos having a lot of these cornier jokes and ironically funny moments, they're actually still pretty good reviews in their own right. There's plenty of jokes in here that actually land. The videos are well edited, and Noelle puts a good amount of effort into each one of them, with her giving a good analysis of whatever game, movie, or show she's discussing. But there is definitely a lot of dated elements to these videos, and I'll slurp up those elements in a heartbeat. And the one trope that these reviews always have that I just can't get enough of is the trope of the reviewer adding their own lore to the world around them, and attempting to shoehorn some story arc into these silly reviews. While some reviewers try not to take these storylines too seriously, many of them unironically play them straight and expect the people to be invested in watching them. And nowadays, it's an element that people like to mock about these videos. However, I was not one of these people back then. As a kid, I was genuinely invested in the storylines that these reviewers put in the videos. Like, the skits were already entertaining enough, but now they're putting lore and character into it, so now you have to watch every episode. It gave me incentive to tune in. I was on the edge of my seat when Game Master finally confronted his evil Wii. I still maintain that storyline was genuinely done really well. Like, genuinely, it's one of the best ones. It's just fun watching this sort of thing play out, and regardless of your thoughts of these story arcs, whether you like them or not, I think objectively speaking, they all show off a sense of passion and creativity from each individual creator. It goes back to that sense of muse that I got from watching these videos, and it's fun seeing an individual create something for a smaller niche of people who just like watching this. In the case of the Hedgehog Ninja, Noelle attempted her own story arc that lasted for a couple of reviews. Now, I want to talk a bit about the story arc, but before we do, we need to address something about the channel. You see, since Noelle talked about a lot of copyrighted material in her videos, she and many other creators during this time faced a lot of problems with YouTube's copyright system. It was sadly a common problem at the time, and because of this, 2 of Noelle's countdowns are currently lost. One of them has been partially found, as it was a collab with another creator, Blackish Butler, but part 1 is still lost. And the other one was a countdown that I only found a screenshot of within one of Noelle's other videos. The countdowns were usually unaffected by copyright, but the reviews were a different story. So, Noelle reposted most of the reviews onto Vimeo and Dailymotion. So while some of these videos are still up on YouTube, many of them were released to these 2 pages. So you kind of have to hop between a few pages to watch all of them, which makes viewing a little less comfortable, but I've been watching this channel for years, so I'm used to it. It's inconvenient at times, but I appreciate that Noelle put the ones from YouTube on these pages as well, so it makes viewing a little more comfortable. However, there is one review that has been posted to either of these pages, and that's a review of Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. And unlike the other 2 videos, this review isn't actually lost. It's still on YouTube, thankfully, but it's blocked, so you have to use a VPN to watch it. Okay, so this is where the story arc begins. I used a VPN to watch and try to archive the video. I'm still in the midst of doing that, but either way, I saw it, and I gotta say, it was absolutely not worth the hassle. For as much as copyright has screwed over Noelle, this was one instance where YouTube was 100% in the right for blocking the video. In fact, I think deleting it would have actually been a fair punishment in this case. That may sound extreme, but the video is almost 40 minutes long, and it barely qualifies under fair use. There are multiple moments throughout the video where Noelle just plays clips from the movie uncut for minutes on end. There's no jokes, no commentary, and even when there are some jokes, they're usually very brief, like not even a minute long, and then it goes right back to playing the movie uncut. I remember being disappointed when I saw this review back in the day. Like, I just wanted to see Noelle tell some jokes about the movie and hear her thoughts on it. And this video just doesn't feel like a review in the slightest. Thankfully, you don't have to watch the review to understand the story arc. All you need to know is that the video exists. It'll make sense in a little bit. The next video in the story arc is one of the countdowns. Top 10 Mortal Kombat fatalities. Standard fare countdown. But at the end of the video, this happens.
It's trying to make the next moments of his life as miserable as he can imagine. He shall regret the day doing what he just did, and I'm going to make sure he acknowledges that.
This floored me when I saw it for the first time back in 2014. I had to know what happened next. Who was this shadowy figure? What's he gonna do to our favorite Hedgehog ninja? This all accumulated into the grand finale of this story arc. A big 3-part review of the 2012 film Red Dawn. The idea of an extended Hedgehog Ninja review for a huge discussion on a horrible remake, and the video was clearly a passion project for Noelle at the time. A 3-part review that's 80 minutes long. It's just, this was just so awesome as a kid. Back to the storyline. Noelle wakes up in a prison, and we finally find out who the masked figure was that kidnapped her.
I must ask before I go on to any more questions that I have. Who are you?
Why, I'm Maximilian Pegasus.
You cannot be Maximilian Pegasus. Seriously.
So it turns out the villain in this arc is Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh!, which was another common trope for videos like this, using a character from fiction as an antagonist. It turns out he kidnapped Noelle because he didn't like her review of Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. And honestly, I'm on his side on that one. So as a way to get revenge on Noelle, he abducted her, and because of the review show, he has to torture her by forcing her to review a bad movie. Oh, the humanity. Now honestly, this review is pretty entertaining. Noelle and Pegasus have a pretty funny dynamic, kind of just going back and forth while doing the review. There's some good dialogue between the two of them. Honestly, out of all the videos, I recommend you seek out this one the most. It's genuinely really funny. One of my favorite gags throughout the video is how Noelle keeps playing clips from Drake and Josh, as a way to mock Josh Peck's character in the film, who constantly makes dumb decisions.
What happens when you get caught?
Because if it were me, you wouldn't keep looking, right?
No, not if it meant putting everyone else's ass on the line.
I'm not you, Jed.
No, you're not. The team has got to come first. Get that through your head.
Erica's my family, Jed. She's more family than you are.
Yeah.
In a moment of pure sorrow and helplessness, Noelle considers throwing in the towel, after giving this heart-wrenching performance.
Why? Why? Why?
She just can't stomach any more of this awful film. But in our hero's darkest moments, we see a glimmer of hope. A miracle. Fellow YouTuber JP the Omnislayer, whose avatar is Ben 10 by the way, sees footage of Noelle's captivity. Without hesitation, he rushes to rescue her. Meanwhile, Noelle, using all of her might, manages to survive the train wreck of a film. But surprise, surprise, Pegasus isn't actually going to release her that easily. He plans on keeping her there to review more Drek for all eternity.
Or you can watch the whole entirety of movie 43. For a whole day.
Oh god, no.
Time for you to pick your poison.
It isn't until JP rushes to the rescue. And I do like this idea here. Since Ben 10 is his avatar, JP possesses Ben's Omnitrix and uses it to defeat Pegasus. That's actually kind of a clever way to take advantage of the cartoon avatars. Now this is where things take a bit of a bizarre turn. So you might remember I said that JP saw footage of Noelle being held captive, but how exactly did he get that footage, you may ask? I mean, it's a review being broadcast on Noelle's channel, so that's how he saw it, right? Well, no.
Pegasus?
Yes.
You broadcasted this whole review around the world?
Of course. I wanted the entire world to see you in your misery.
Are you an idiot?
Idiot? Why is that?
By broadcasting this across the entire world, you have the possibility of anyone having the idea of saving me and stopping you once and for all.
So yeah, it turns out Pegasus broadcasted it on TV somehow, and then Noelle goes off on him, and rants about how stupid his plan was, almost reviewing his plan in a way. As if that changes anything, because the review literally starts with Noelle saying this to the audience.
Well, remember Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh!, the guy who created the game itself in the series? He captured me in my sleep and placed me here in this jail, which he calls the Shadow Realm for some reason, and he used some sort of device of some sort to turn me into what you're looking at right now, and now he's forcing me to review a certain movie that he had planned for me.
The whole joke is that Pegasus was so incompetent that he thought it was a good idea to film his crime for the world to see. Basically a calling card to save Noelle. But what difference does it make? They were talking to the audience the whole time. Like, it doesn't make sense. Anyways, JP and Noelle escape. Noelle warns Pegasus that if he harms them again, they'll make sure he pays for it. Why she doesn't just kill him right there, I have no idea. But Pegasus ensures that this won't be the last time we see him. and after that epic final battle, JP and Noelle head home, as the harrowing adventure comes to a close. Or does it?
So, what should we do for the time being?
Well, how about we do a collab?
A collab? After saving me, how could I say no? So, what are we gonna do for our collab?
Let's just say it's an interesting topic.
But unfortunately, that actually was the end. The collab between JP and Noelle tragically never happened. It was scrapped as the two continued on with other projects in their channels, and that genuinely upset me as a kid. I thought about this collab endlessly, hoping I'd come home from school one day to see that it was finally uploaded. But the day never came. I've been bitter ever since. Really though, this wasn't even that huge of a deal. I mean, it's not like the last video ended on a cliffhanger or anything. From what I do remember, I think the collab was just going to be another countdown. I think it would have been Pokemon related, but was scrapped for whatever reason. I don't think it was actually meant to be connected to the storyline or anything. I think this was just meant to be a lead-in for the collab. Just something for fun. But who knows? Maybe this would have been some grand finale to the storyline, with Pegasus coming back to derail the review, and the duo has to defeat him once and for all. I guess we'll never know. Noelle went on to make several more high-quality reviews after this one, but she never revisited this idea of the story arc. I guess it was probably just meant to be an experiment, and she kept it open-ended, in case she ever wanted to revisit it. Now, around 2016 or so, Noelle kind of stopped uploading, and this was around the time when she was becoming more ashamed of her videos. Again, she retitled them Old Crappy Videos. She did attempt to make a comeback in 2020, under the name The Foxy Phantom Thief, which lasted for a grand total of one video. And Noelle sort of distanced herself from the Hedgehog Ninja, and now she's a Twitch VTuber, while her channel remains dormant, barring a few clips from her streams being posted on there every now and then. I do appreciate that she was willing to relist the videos for those who actually enjoyed them, in spite of her embarrassment. Considering the era in which these videos came out, I can't say I'm surprised that her and others were embarrassed by videos like this. At a time where everyone tried to create videos like this, it's always nice to see someone who not only kept them up, but was willing to let people see their own work, even if they don't like it as much as they do. Honestly though, I don't think Noelle should look at these videos in shame. I know it's easy for me to say that as a fan. I don't know how embarrassed she actually was, but in spite of some flaws, these videos are unironically really entertaining. Noelle really had something here. Really, she did. But if she wants to focus on other projects, that's totally fine. Kudos to her, and I wish nothing but the best for her in the future. Thanks for all the videos, Noelle. As a creator, I owe you and Game Master a lot for getting me into this sort of thing to begin with.
I'm the Hedgehog Ninja. I hope I served your time well, and I'll see you guys next time.